Our State Farm lineups. First, for the Pacers, Hill and George, they're manning the back. And starting 7'2", one of the true giants in the game, another great big man out of Georgetown, Roy Hibbert. Then there's Danny Granger, and it's West in at the 4 slot. And then for the Chicago Bulls, Derrick Rose is out there with Bellinelli. And down low, the two-time NCAA champion at Florida, the 6'11 tornado of energy and effort. It's the big man, Joakim Noah. Then it's Dang, and it's Boozer in at the 4 spot.
And there's the first bucket of the game.
Yeah, that's a nice tone setter out of the gate. Well, you throw. Oh, man. Boy, oh boy, to be young again. My, oh my. You got me thinking back to my days.
Oh, yeah, right. It does make you nostalgic, doesn't it?
Yep, reminds me a lot of myself in my younger days too, guys. Oh wait, maybe not.
And that was Sprite bringing you the close-up on that big-time play.
Well, they'll give him that shot. He doesn't have the most reliable jump shot in the world. We know that.
How about Paul George? Since he got into the NBA, he's grown a couple of inches. He's now 6'10", and as a swingman, that's just great size. Phenomenal athlete, can guard pretty much anybody on the court.
Pass to West. Good, the assist goes to Hill. West has got his second bucket tonight. The Bulls have gone 2 of 3 here to start out the game. And Paul George taken with the 11th pick in the 2010 NBA draft. Clark, if you look back at that class, you think if they get it over, he'd go higher?
I don't know if he would or not, but I'm certainly glad he fell where he did to number 10 and for the Indiana Pacers, because I think he's got a chance to be a star at both ends of the floor. It's a matter of commitment to the extra work and keeping his feet on the ground, staying humble and hungry. If he does that, the kid's got a chance to be a special player.
And it's Rose penetrating. Oh, and they get in the way of the alley-oop. Not to be. Good play defensively. Here's Hill. And it's going to be 2 free throws. Drew contact on the shot. The Pacers shooting their first free throws of the game.
About a year ago, they converted about 78% of their free throws as a team, so pretty solid there.
And you can't take those numbers lightly, fellas. I mean, their free throw shooting made a difference for them in a lot of their games last season. For another year in a row, the Bulls were the cream of the crop in the East. Their mark of 38-10, the best of any team against their own conference. And check out your point guard showing you major bounce above the rim.
How about this? The smaller the player, the bigger the highlight.
I love that.
That was a highlight. Terrific finish.
This year will be tougher with the injury to Derrick Rose, but the Bulls have shown that they are always going to be tough in the East. That Steve is never going to leave it.
Well, the strength of this club, guys, is obviously Rose on offense, but it's the bigs defensively. Noah, Asik last year and Gibson were so good as a tandem coming off the bench. That length and size and athleticism was a major factor for that club.
Passes it to Hibbert. Good, and it's Hill picking up the assist. Hibbert's got his first points of the night. Bulls have gotten 4 of 6 field goal attempts to drop in the first quarter. Bellinelli, defended by George. Boozer kicks to Rose. There's the block. Now Granger. 1:39 left to play in the first quarter. Stolen by Noah. Lobs the alley-oop pass.
The alley-oop pass right into the layup. Outstanding play that time.
Absolutely. The technique couldn't have been any better.
Bro, that's 2 guys who really love playing together, and it shows on that play.
So Chicago going with an almost entirely new grouping. Ozzie Muhammad's checked in for Noah. Gibson comes in for Carlos Boozer. Richard Hamilton's checked in for Marco Bellinelli. And it's Heinrich in for Derrick Rose. Indiana also making some changes. Mahinmi's checked in for Hibbert. Hansbrough comes in for David West. And DJ Augustine subbed in for George Hill. Augustine with it. He's picked up by Heinrich. And Kirk Heinrich picks up the foul. That is his first foul of the game.
Second team foul. On
the wing, Granger. kicks to Augustine. Indiana moving it around. Hansbrough. It's hauled in by Luol Deng.
Luol Deng was a first-time All-Star in 2012. Obviously, being a member of a winning team like the Bulls didn't hurt, but his play is so solid. Just a great all-around game. He can spread the floor offensively and usually guards the opponent's best offensive player.
Augustine off the pick from Hansbrough. And Augustine kicks to Hansbrough. Clock at 4. That's good. There's 39 seconds left here in the opening quarter.
And guys, you recall for Luol Deng in the All-Star introductions, he wore a T-shirt with the outline of Africa on the front. Deng is a native of Sudan, and he's very conscious of reaching back and inspiring other kids from Africa to dream big and to do well.
Looked like they found the soft spot in the defense there.
And here's Augustine looking for his first bucket of the game. Granger with the screen for Augustine. He dishes it to Granger. Oh, and here we go with Gibson. Nobody back.
My word, the one-man alley-oop. I haven't seen many of those. We need to come up with a name for that play, Kevin.
Hey,
Give it a shot.
Yeah, okay. Just call what it is, Clark. Spectacular. Work for me.
I like that. That's pretty well said, Kevin. Such an athletic.
And we reach the end of the first quarter. Bulls out front. They lead by 7. And the second quarter will be on the way when we come back. And the first quarter is in the books. Second about ready to get underway. Looking at what we've seen from the Bulls, what do you guys think?
And that first quarter was all about pace, guys, because this club really got out into transition, and that's how they built this lead.
They like to play fast, and they're doing a nice job filling the lanes.
And a really poor job boxing out there, guys. A momentary lapse in concentration, I think.
And it's Rose penetrating. Here's Boozer. And Strong with the one-handed jam.
Simply said, a tremendous rebound and a tremendous dunk. T-square.
He was a man possessed right there, Clark.
Yep. That's the kind of energy that you always get from him night after night. Well, it's interesting. Indiana is known for being a hotbed of basketball. And in recent years, the Pacers have not drawn well, in large part because I didn't think their teams were very likable. But that's changed. The current Pacer group is a hard-working, unselfish team, and I think they're fun to watch.
Let's go now to the sideline and catch up with Doris Burke. Hey, Doris.
Hey, guys. We've often seen star players look to play together, but the Bulls' Derrick Rose has been adamant that he won't recruit free agents to come to Chicago. He said, that's something I wouldn't say to anyone, that I need someone to come to this team, or I'm trying to get rid of someone on this team. That's something I would never do. Guys, for him, it's important to stay loyal to his teammates. He said, it's a family here. If you want to come here, but it's not up to me to make that decision.
Interesting, Doris.
Oh, look out!
You know, the dunk was great, but I didn't care for that interior defense there, guys. It was non-existent.
You're right, Clark. You know, it was way too easy. I don't think the coach liked it either. Look at that face. Uh-oh.
It doesn't get much easier than that. They have got to tighten up their defense. That was embarrassing.
And the replay, of course, presented by Sprite. What a play. Granger over Deng. Danny Granger, the bucket on the assist by Augustine.
Well, they keep going right back to the paint, and who can blame them? I mean, they're getting it done in there.
Yeah, 3 of their last 5 buckets, guys, have come from inside the lane area, so I'd expect them to continue to go inside right at the defense.
Bellinelli dishes to Heinrich. Drills it from outside. Heinrich's got 5 points in the quarter.
Tell you, they might have to make a defensive adjustment. They can't give him that kind of a look from beyond the arc.
Timeout called the Pacers.
You know, the Bulls once again dominated the regular season, and last year they were helped by some improved shooting from deep. They were a top 5 3-point field goal percentage team last year, Kevin.
Richard Hamilton's checked in for the Bulls. Hansbrough working against Gibson with the fadeaway. Hansbrough misses.
Yeah, that's very uncharacteristic for him to miss that shot with such little defensive pressure.
No good from Gibson. And Clark, when you have the depth and skill the Bulls have, adding a team that consistently can make threes is almost unfair.
Yep.
Oh, man, oh, man. Steve, that 3 ball I know was the one thing you relied on a lot.
Yeah, and it's so important for the Bulls because they're built around Derrick Rose and his penetration. So in order to give him those driving lanes, they've got to space the floor, and they did an excellent job with that last season.
Granger left side. Mahinmi down low, covered by Muhammad. The shot by Mahinmi, no good. The Bulls leading by 10. And now here's Hamilton, the fast break chance. Outside for George. Now the feed to Hansbrough. Using his post moves to get the 2 points. Hansbrough's got his second basket of the night. And the first time out of the game called for Chicago. So for the Bulls, Rose comes in for Richard Hamilton. And Nate Robinson is subbed in for Kirk Hinrich. So an entirely new group in now for Indiana. Roy Hibbert's checked in for Mahinmi. West comes in for Tyler Hansbrough. Green, he's checked in for George. And George Hill's subbed in for Augustine. Here's Hill. Muhammad pulls it in. The Bulls have gone 5 of 8 from the floor here in the second quarter. Over 60% shooting. And Rose throws it down.
We see more and more point guards with that kind of impressive dunking ability, don't we?
Absolutely. We're seeing more and more of that kind of explosiveness. In fact, the point guard now has never been as prominent and as important, I think, in the game than it is right now.
I agree. Some of that is the rule changes, guys. No hand checks. The floor is more spread. But, yeah, this new breed of athletic point guard is so exciting.
DJ Augustine's checked in for George Hill. Here's Rose. Robinson passes to Dang. Good. And the Bulls lead by 12.
And as the game has gone along, they've gotten much more aggressive on the offensive boards.
You know, crashing the boards is really an effort thing. It's an attitude and effort thing. And if teams get tired, they usually take a break on crashing the boards. But they've done just the opposite here.
Granger misses.
You see the defenders get out of his way a lot of times when he's on his way to the bucket, but not that time.
Robinson, that's good.
Love the finish there. Not much defense, though.
Pacers trail by 14. 29 seconds left to play here in the half. Really left alone that time. Green's got his first basket.
Well, good job finding a little opening in the defense and burying the jumper.
Robinson against Augustine. Here's Dang. Again, the miss by Dang.
Can't get a much better look than that, though.
Sure can't. Not one you'd expect him to miss there.
Here's Green.
Man, what a play. Guys, I'm going to need just a second to get myself together here.
Leaves you speechless, doesn't it, Clark? Oh, wow.
Man, I don't blame you, Clark. That dunk was unbelievable.
And so that brings the first half to a close. Bulls lead by...
Now, presented by Sprint.
Thanks, everyone, for being with us.
And a look here at the skyscraper surrounding Chicago's front yard. Grant Park. Welcome back, everyone. You gotta like what Derrick Rose has done in this game.
He's just carving up this defense with his ability to cut and get to the hoop.
And some of his finishes at the rim, Steve, wow. I mean, come on. I mean, he's giving his squad just what they needed.
And let's catch up with our sideline reporter, Doris Burke. Doris, over to you.
Gentlemen, over the last few seasons, the Chicago Bulls have become a much more coachable collection of talent. Coach Thibodeau said it's rare to see so much talent with so few egos. That's a big reason why Thibodeau has been able to get so much from this roster. Back to you, Kevin.
Great leadership from the top on down. And Doris, credit the players for really buying in.
No question about it, guys. He's been one of their best performers today. You know, Indiana is still trying to get back on top of the division, and last year they played well, but not quite well enough to knock off the Chicago Bulls.
Hill with some nice D. Pacers trail by 6. Stolen by Boozer. He passes to Noah. And that's out of bounds. Chicago will retain possession. Yeah, Clark, Chicago had a great year, and the Central Division is so difficult and getting tougher, it seems. Still, you know, the Pacers want the division crown this season, given Chicago's injury trouble.
Yeah, Indiana could be the favorites this year. because they are whole, and Chicago has some question marks coming into the year. But it sure looks like a pretty good rivalry for many years to come, given the depth of both rosters. Great move to get to the bucket and lay that one in. He's got the softest touch around the basket. Impressive.
Timeout called the Pacers.
Not exactly the way the Bulls wanted to perform in the playoffs last year, Kevin. And Derrick Rose, when he tore his ACL in the first game of the opening round, it was something they couldn't quite recover from.
Rose against Hill. Over Rose. The shot is off. And Chicago will go the other way with the ball. They've led by as many as 14 points. But credit to the Bulls, they did get a couple of wins before falling to the 76ers in 6. But once Rose went down, their hopes, and Noah too, I guess, for a degree, their hopes at a title were probably out the window.
Yeah, no question. It was a tough way to wrap up what was a fantastic regular season for the Bulls. But, you know, you need luck to win in the playoffs. You got to be good, but you've got to be lucky. And unfortunately for the Bulls, their luck was all bad last season.
Hill with it. And Rose picks him up defensively. Outside, George. Hibbert with a screen for George. 5 to shoot. Feeds to Granger. Launches a 3. Again, the miss by Granger.
And you look at Bulls head coach Tom Thibodeau, considered by a lot of people to be the architect of the defensive philosophies that have been embraced by most of the league, and that is loading the strong side of the floor in the half court and kind of zoning up, basically, and then sending the ball handler baseline into help down on the block.
So an entirely new group in now for Indiana. Mahinmi's checked in for Hibbert. Hansbrough comes in for David West. Green, he's checked in for George. And DJ Augustine subbed in for George Hill. Granger kicks to Mahinmi. He feeds it to Augustine. To the paint, Granger. An easy 2 points on the layup. Granger's got his second bucket of the night. Well, Steve, going back to Coach Tom Thibodeau, our listeners might say, well, he's only been a head coach for a couple of years. How could you be so influential? But prior to that, he was an assistant coach in the NBA for 2 decades and really built a nice reputation.
And whether it's in Houston or Boston, he's always played that key role in creating those stingy defensive schemes that he's known for. Obviously, he's taken those to Chicago now. The Bulls have been one of the best defensive clubs in the league the last couple of years. So Tom Thibodeau, no question, an excellent defensive coach. Well, they called him Psycho T at North Carolina for his willingness to dish out and absorb punishment. He's a guy who loves that physical play around the basket.
Yeah, no doubt. He is a banger, high-motor guy, willing to do whatever it takes to win, certainly. Looking at who's out there now for the Pacers. Roy Hibbert's checked in for Mahinmi. Paul George comes in for Danny Granger. And George Hill's subbed in for Green. Here's Boozer. That is good. Boozer's got 4 points this quarter.
They are in attack mode right now. That's 10 straight points, guys, all coming inside the paint.
And Steve, if I'm them, I'd keep going right to the heart of that defense like they have been until they do something about it. If they don't offer resistance, take everything you can get in there.
And it's Hibbert missing.
Another year and another season where the Bulls dominated the backboard. Second straight season here, they have led the league in rebound.
Rose against Augustine. Back to Hibbert. Outside, George. The pass to Hibbert. Clock at 6. Outside, Hill. Over Bellinelli. And the Pacers can't get it to go. Bulls and rebounding with the defense they play. One leads to another. Just all part of the well-oiled machine, Steve, they have built in Chicago.
Yeah, Tom Thibodeau deserves so much credit. Obviously, he's got Derrick Rose running the point, but the defensive schemes, the size, the activity, how hard they play on a nightly basis, it's one of the reasons they're such a good rebounding club.
Looking at who's out there now for the Pacers. David West, he's checked in for Hibbert. And it's Granger in for Tyler Hansbrough. West kicks to Augustine. Some nice passing here by Indiana. Granger misses.
Well, Well, they've built a big lead here so far, and a lot of it has to do with how well they've been rebounding.
Yeah, every time they make a stop, they're securing the rebound, and that's really allowed them to get out to this lead.
He has such a great feel for how a missed shot is going to come off the rim. Really plays those angles well. That's exactly why he consistently beats defenders to the ball.
And Augustine kicks to George. Left side, West. Offensive struggles continue, missing again. Well, through 3 quarters of play, down double digits, it may be different. The Bulls leading by 13. Rose with the ball.
Look out. Watch out now. Always some entertainment value when you go with the windmill jam.
Yeah, rim shaker and Steve a wrist breaker.
Outrageous, man.
Catching up on the changes now for Indiana. Hibbert comes in for David West. And it's George in for Green. Hill dishes to Hibbert. And there's the 3-second violation.
Lost his focus, just a careless play.
Trying to cut this deficit, they've got to play smarter.
Carlos Boozer's checked in for the Bulls. Bang comes in for Derrick Rose. And a change for the Pacers. Mahinmi's checked in for Roy Hibbert. Hill against Dang. He kicks to Hansbrough. It's back to Hill. Takes a 3. Second shot opportunity. Hansbrough, that's good.
Something has to change, guys. That's 10 straight points coming in the paint against this team.
Well, they got to collapse in there, and everybody's got to be conscious of it. It's a team effort in protecting the paint. Control the ball, and then everybody's got to get in there and keep the defense locked down. Well, they haven't been getting lit up from outside here. All the points they're giving up are from in close. They've got to offer more resistance.
Yeah, defense has to get better, Clark. They've got to body up, bump somebody, get physical, force the action back out to the perimeter.
Chicago making some changes. Joakim Noah, he's checked in for Gibson. And Derrick Rose is subbed in for Richard Hamilton. The Pacers also with the sub. West is checked in.
Excellent find there on that inbound. Really good execution.
Here is Rose. The dish to Boozer over West. And there's Carlos Boozer on the assist by Rose. And that's now 10 points for Carlos Boozer. Hill against Rose. And he was fouled on the way up. 2 free throws now for him.
You know, George Hill almost has the perfect basketball body. He's long, lean, a nice two-way player at 6'2", a combo guard, more scorer than playmaker. But what I really like about him is he can defend either guard spot, and on occasion can defend small forwards too.
I think Greg Popovich liked that about him in San Antonio. Clark, speaking of George Hill, you mentioned his ability to guard shooting guards. His 6'9" arm span of his doesn't hurt. Steve, he takes up a lot of area.
Yeah, great athleticism. Kevin, a guy who can knock down the three-point shot, but also defend multiple positions. And, you know, playing for Greg Popovich his first 3 years in the league with the Spurs, he obviously learned an awful lot at the defensive end of the floor.
Here's Noah. The finger roll finish at the bucket. And the Bulls lead by 16.
Man, offensive execution has been the story here. Just playing beautiful basketball.
And guys, you can see it in their advantage in field goal percentage. I mean, you get high-quality shots, you're usually going to shoot well. They're playing outstanding basketball.
Well, it took him a long time to get that three-point range. Maybe this will get him going.
Here's Boozer.
I'll tell you, I was really worried during the labor negotiations that the league would lose popularity, but I didn't think the NBA suffered much at all. They started games on Christmas Day. The fans came back immediately. TV ratings were as high as ever. So I think the league survived quite well.
Bulls making a switch here. Bellinelli's checked in. Boozer hits them both. Just a little under 2.5 minutes have passed now here in the fourth. Here's Hill. Outside, George. The offensive rebound. Granger, good. Granger's got 5 points now this quarter.
They have a little extra mojo going here, a little extra pep in their step, more hustle in this second half. They're doing a much better job in terms of second chance points.
Dang, Granger covering. Dang kicks to Rose. The rebound by Hansbrough. Well, you look back to the Christmas Day start last season. All the big names and all the big-time teams. You know, Steve, it did a great job of bringing the NBA back in a big way.
Well, if you think about it, you know, before Christmas, most sports fans are focused on football. Christmas Day has always been sort of the unofficial beginning of the NBA season as far as a lot of sports fans are concerned. So, you know, Christmas is a big day for the NBA, but I think it really worked out well for the NBA to start the season on Christmas Day. It really reduced the impact that the lockout had in terms of a negative reaction from the fans.
The defense caught dozing off that time.
Those open dunks, pretty high percentage.
Yeah, you're not going to miss many of those. I mean, this is really a poor defensive effort.
A moment to check in with Doris Burke. Doris?
Well, guys, Tom Thibodeau had some advice for his team in that last timeout. He told the players, let's put our foot on them and keep them down. We've got them exactly where we want them. I want to see you guys slow the pace, use the clock, and stay away from any silly fouls.
Hill kicks to Granger. He's covered by Dang. Inside to Hibbert. So the whistle blows on the shot and 2 free throws for the contact right there.
Look out the game for Roy Hibbert. He's got 8 points and a block.
And that one misses. That's good, going 1 of 2 from the line, and that brings them to within 10.
Now, even though they're down, I like their mentality. Work it inside and try to create some contact. Oh, ridiculous move. Pour it down that time.
You know what? I thought he might have it in him. I mean, he did everything right there.
Could be the start of something for him.
Could be, because he is really having some fun out there. Looks like he's playing with confidence.
And the highlight reel replay brought to you by Sprite. Good stuff. And the Pacers call time here. They're trailing by 10. 1:14 left in the fourth quarter. So for the Bulls, Ozzie Muhammad's checked in for Noah. Gibson comes in for Carlos Boozer. And Richard Hamilton is subbed in for Luol Deng. West, Muhammad pulls it in.
Another board for them, and they've got a huge advantage in that regard.
Yeah, it's not really a surprise. I mean, rebounding one of the true barometers in winning basketball games, and if you rebound better, you typically are going to win ball games and do it comfortably.
Outside Hill. West gets back to Hill. Dishes it to George. Gets it to go. There's 48 seconds left in the fourth quarter. It's stolen by Hill, and the stuff by West.
And some instant offense coming for them after that steal.
Yeah, that's terrific, beautiful transition basketball. No chance at all for the defense to get back and set up.
Rose attacking. Pass to Muhammad. Hamilton outside. Hits it from three-point range. And the Bulls lead by 11.
And they're closing this game out in style. I mean, I like what they're doing here, competing till the very end.
That's certainly what it looks like. I mean, there's no let-up in them so far.
What a finish with that hoop.
The Bulls have gone 8 of 10 from the field here in the fourth quarter. Really getting it done. Heinrich outside. Gibson with the screen on George. Muhammad against Hibbert. And Hibbert with the block. On the wing, Granger. That's good. And so it's Chicago winning this one.
The Pacers 60.